Good morning, guys. I'm Rahul Samane, and today we'll be seeing how to send emails through our Django application, normal emails, as well as customized emails that consist of CSS, buttons, and all those things. So let's get started. You can see my screen hopefully. So I've created a folder called Django videos, and now I'll create a virtual environment. So there are a couple of ways to create virtual environment. So I follow this one, and then the second step is to activate the virtual environment. Now all we have to do is to install Django. So pip install Django. This will make sure that the latest version of Django is installed on your machine. Okay, now let's clear our screen, and let's verify whether Django has been installed. So there are a couple of ways to verify it. So pip list, it will list all the installed packages in your virtual environment along with their version number. So you can see Django, and the latest version is 5.0.2. Now the next thing we need to create is a project, a Django project. So for that we'll fire this command Django admin start project, and we'll name this as email project. Okay, now let's see the contents of our folder. We have this project, email project. Okay, now let's go within this email project. Now let us also create one app. So the way to create an app is using Python manage.py command. Manage.py file is the management command, followed by start app and the app name. Let's call the app name as accounts. And now we'll open this using VS Code editor. Now the first thing which we need to do is we'll create a couple of things. First of all, we'll create in the accounts, we'll create template folders. In our email project, we'll create template folders and static folders. And let's first go to the settings.py file. So we have created this app called accounts. So this needs to be listed here in the installed app section. Accounts. Now on the static, root equal to base dir and static. And we have to add one more file called static files underscore dirs. It will be list, and within this list will consist of all the static folders which we created. So right now we have not created any, but we'll be creating very shortly. So let's list down before creating itself. So under the account section, I'll be creating a static folder. You can name the static folder any way you want. So this is just a convention. So under the account section, I am just going to create a static folder. And in the account section also, I am going to create a templates folder. So this templates folder needs to go under this templates list. So within the templates list, there is one more list called the dirs. We'll list down the accounts followed by the template name, that is templates. Okay, now because this project is all about sending emails, so we have to also configure our email. So right beneath this, we'll email it's a convention that it should be all in uppercase. So backend would be Django dot core dot mail dot backends dot smtp dot email back end. Now we need to provide the host, email host equal to smtp dot gmail .com. Email port, it is usually 587. Now we'll use email, use TLS be true. I'll explain what this means. Now we need to give email underscore host user. So here you need to provide your email ID. So my email ID is rsomani.26 at gmail gmail.com. Now the last thing remains is password. So, email host password. So if you provide your original password, for example, my password is, let's suppose my password is this is live. So this is visible to the entire world, and anybody can open my email, right? So in order that this does not happen, so you have to go to your Google account, enable two-factor authorization, Google account, we need to go to the security. Okay, so see, within the security I have already created an app, but before that you have to make sure that your two-step verification is on. So please make these changes. And then after that you will get here that you need to create an app password. So if you click that, it will return you a 16-digit password. So now it is not letting me to do it. Okay, so I already have that, so you can figure it out how to create your own password, right? So I have my password, so I'll copy that password from the notebook. Now this is my password, which is visible to the world, but nobody can enter my email ID using this password. So all is set up now. Now let's go to the urls.py file, and first of all let's include a function called include and path. I'm pretty sure that you are all familiar with Django. So the app I created was accounts, so I'm including the URLs, accounts.urls. Okay, Now in the accounts, let's close this email project. Okay, now in the accounts app, we'll create a couple of templates. One is register.html, one is register email.html, and in the static folder, let's create a folder called CSS, and in the CSS, let's create a style sheet called style.css. And now in the accounts app, we'll create two files. One is forms.py file, and the other one is urls.py file. Okay, so in the urls.py file, let's create some URL patterns. So from Django dot URLs import. My fingers are a bit broken, so that's why I'm not able to type in properly. And now we'll be creating some views. So first of all, let's create URL patterns. So the first pattern would be register. And the view name would be, let's call it register. And the name would be register. Okay, the other path we'll create is success. The view would be registration success, and name would be again registration success. So let's go back to the template section, and let's create one more HTML template called registration success.html. Okay. Now in the views file, So we have to create, these are the views, we have to create these functions. So we'll be creating function based views. So let's go to the views.py file, and here we'll define our views. So the first view I register, and every view take the first parameter or argument as a request, because it works on a request and a response model. A view accepts a request and it returns a response. So now we need to check whether first of all, let's return an HTTP response. Things are working. And we need to include this. Okay. And registration success also. Define request. Quickly copy this, paste it here, and success. Now you can see this yellow. So this happens because we have not imported our views. So from .views import register and registration success. We're not use any styling right now. Okay, so we'll close everything for now, and now let's run our server. Python manager.py run server. So now our server is running here. So 127. Now if we enter this, we'll see a page not found error because we have not given the specified route. The routes are admin by default, register which we have created, and success. So we'll try for register, and now it returned an HTTP response in which we have returned things are working. So it is working, right? And the same is with success. Okay, so now let's go back to our app. And now we have to create our forms. So the form is in the Django framework itself. So import forms. Now we'll also create from Django dot contrib dot auth dot forms import user creation form. So this is a class, an inbuilt class, user creation form, and we also create a user from Django dot contrib dot auth dot models import user, because we need to create a user. So now we will create a class called registration form that will inherit from user creation form, and it will have email as the primary key, or email as the primary field. So forms, this forms has a couple of attributes. One of the attributes is email field. And now we'll create class meta. So this class meta is used to give extra information or additional information to your class. So model equal to user and fields equal to so this user class, this user model has some inbuilt fields. So one is the username, email, password 1 and password 2. So this is for repeating passwords. We don't need to create any models. Now let's go to this register.html template. So I'll use the emit and we'll pass in title. We'll create a wrapper class, and because we are dealing with forms, so form action will be nothing, but method would be a post method. And every form, because we need to make sure that there is no cross-site request forgery, so we need to add a token. So the way we add a token is %CSRF underscore token %. And now because we've created the form, so the form can be displayed in a couple of manners, like form as div, form as table, form as paragraph. So we'll be displaying the form as div, and then we'll have an input submit send. That's all for this. If you want, we can link the style sheet. Static css style dot css. So now let's go to the static file first, style.css, and let's make a couple of changes here. So we'll get rid of the default margin and paddings. Margin is 0, padding is 0, and box sizing is border box. Okay, now let's come to the body section. Let's make it give it a background color of maybe offbeat aqua, not aqua, but let's give it a okay, and color is black, and font size would be 1.3 em. Now the wrapper, this wrapper, okay, so this wrapper will give it a height of maybe 400 pixels, 400 pixels, width of also 400 pixels. We'll try to make it in the center, so margin 0 and not 0, 100 pixels, and auto will give it a border of 1 pixel, solid red, and border radius will give it a border radius of 8 pixels. Line height also we can give 1.2. Letter spacing also we can give 1.2. Okay, now let's go to this views.py file. Okay, now instead of returning this HTTP response, we now need to render this register.html file. Yes, do you agree with me? Okay, so what we'll do is that we'll first of all check whether the request method was post or get. If the request method was post, it means that the user has already filled in the form and now we need to collect the form data. Otherwise, if the request method is get, so it means that the user has just requested for that route, that URL, and he is now going to fill the form, so that is empty. We just need to render the form. So we will check if the request dot method equal to post, so we'll create a registration form object, and this registration form we created in our forms.py file, and we'll gather all the information that was filled in by the user. So we'll quickly fix this. Now this has been fixed by how from accounts or forms it has been imported. Now we'll need to check whether the form is valid or not, whether the user has entered valid data. So if registration form dot is valid, so we'll create the user dot save and login is a function which take into argument request and user. So again login, we need to from Django dot contrib dot auth import login. We have to make a couple of more imports, but we'll see it later on. Now let's try to send mail. So every mail has a subject. Welcome to, and what I'll do is that I'll use the format method HTML message now there's a render to string function. So this render to string function is from Django dot template dot loader import render to string So initially I was thinking of just sending a plain email, just a plain email. So I'll not be using this render to string right now. So subject message equal to thank you for registering. From email, I'll give my email ID dot somani dot 26 at gmail.com. Now the recipient list we can send to multiple recipient. I have made a mistake. List, and again I made a mistake. Recipient list equal to, now this registration form which we created has a function called cleaned data, and it will capture all the emails, and it will clean in the process also. So for example, if there are any white spaces, so it will clean those things, it will get rid of those things. So this is the function of clean data. Now send mail, what am I doing? Subject, message, from email, recipient list. Now send email, mail again is underlined, so we have to import this from django.co.mail, import send mail. Now messages of success. Now this message is also we need to import from Django.contrib, import messages. So this messages dot success takes request as the first parameter, and a string, registration successful, welcome to our site, and then we'll return redirect to registration option success. So again, redirect has to be okay. Now in the views.py file, now this only happens if the method is post. Now if the method is get, so what happens? So else if the method is a get method, so we'll create an instance of the registration form, registration form, and we'll return render will return this register.html file, and will give a context. Title is sending mails, and will also pass the form object. Registration form. Okay, now there's okay, now that's fine. So registration success. So what I'll do is here is I'll just h1 registration success. Okay. Or we have this one thing more. Okay, so we have this view file registration success, right? So we can return an HTTP response saying mail sent, successfully. Okay, so now let's test. I have not still properly used style.css. So now let's try to run this server. Okay, so this usually happens. This problem usually happens when you forget to load the static tag in your HTML template, which I forgot. So in the load static. Okay, now let's go to this. Okay, now see, all the forms that we created is now being displayed as a div, right? So username, it requires a username. Let's create a username as Maria, and email is somani.classes@outlook.com, and password, let me give it Somani. Aha. Okay, and see, the whole idea is whether, okay, now the operational error at register. So we forgot one thing, that was the main thing, is that we forgot to create tables, python manage.py, make migrations, and then migrate. Now Maria emails. Okay, so it says that, okay, this the password field does not match. The username already exists, so I'll create a different user called Pushpa, and this is live, this is live. I hope that I don't make any problems here. Mail sent successfully. So it took a hell of time, Now let's see whether I got this mail or not. So I got this mail. Thank you for registering, and I got this mail 2 times actually. The first of Maria, and you can see that welcome to accounts dot views. This is accounts dot views. Okay, so this only happened because of this. So we were in the module accounts dot views. So it gave us welcome to account.views. Had we chosen any other name, it would have given the other name. So this is the first part of the series. I hope you liked it, guys. uh, Thank you so much for joining, and take care. Bye bye.